Welcome to a new daily top Askreddit video. Today's topic. What moment in an argument made you realize this person is an idiot and there is no winning scenario? An old roommate of mine was trying to say we were blackmailing her when we were asking her to take out her trash, etc. She said, watch the Lizzie McGuire movie, there's blackmail in there and it's obvious that's what you're doing to me. I believe it goes without saying that she never clean up after herself, nor did she understand that movie. Damn, the Lizzie McGuire movie is darker than I thought. Miranda from Lizzie McGuire was arrested in 2007 for meth possession. Blackmail is such an ugly word. I prefer extortion. The X makes it cool. Hey, what are you doing with that microwave? Co-worker would constantly preach against GMOs, parabens, only use oils when sick, etc. She told me I was going to get cancer from my deodorant, and the corn I bought was mutant. Then she'd go outside and smoke 3 cigarettes every 2 hours. Edit, thanks to whoever gave me the silver. I've only been on Reddit a few days and didn't expect so much reaction to a random comment this morning. That being said, this one comment has brought me a flurry of insults and angry messages. It's funny how one off-the-cuff observation can send people into a tirade. I know the internet is full of toxic people, but I really hope to engage in some good conversations on here. Guess not. It's been fun, but bye-bye Reddit, you are too scary for me. P.S. If I'm getting this kind of abuse for this comment, I can't imagine what you all who actually post political opinions are getting. Good luck you two. Not to be super dark, but if she preaches on again, try telling her to look into Steve Jobs. I mean, it's neither here nor there, but I think if he got actual sound medical treatment instead of some holistic hippie approach, he may be alive today. Kind of reminds of that episode of Seinfeld where Kramer convinces George to see his guru, and George turns purple. Steve Jobs did have sound medical treatment. He just chose to opt out of everything. When I was arguing with someone about why milk doesn't go in first when making a cup of tea, a very English debate, and his argument was when you add boiling water to cold milk, you're warming it up, but when you add cold milk to boiling water, you're cooling it down, and I don't want cold tea. I tried to explain how the end temperature will be exactly the same regardless, but he was already celebrating his self-awarded victory. Excommunicate him. All in favor? Aye. That's stupid. Also, to add to your argument, you would put the milk in last because it's easier for the tea to diffuse in the water without being inhibited by the milk. On top of that, if you put too little milk in and stir it, you can always add more according to taste. Once it's in there you can't take it out. How do people not get this? I'm with you Scalzi. Very contentious issue, and I will admit to all those disagreeing with me that your delivery mechanism, teapot vs tea bag already in the mug, does make a difference. Exactly. I've never understood how this is even a debate. The tea has to steep in boiling water before adding milk. It's even written in the instructions on tea boxes FFS. The tea ops friend drinks must be a weak, poor ass excuse for tea. He must be exiled. My cousins are flat earthers. When lack of evidence is just proof of a conspiracy, it's best to just disengage. You can't break into that prison they have to break out. You can't reason someone out of a position they didn't reason themselves into. When a CEX manager insisted to me it was impossible for a laptop CPU to hit over 100C because that would melt gold. His tech expert buddy backing him up the whole time. For those too lazy to look it up, but still curious, the actual melting point of gold is January 1064 8 degrees Celsius, March 1337 3 Kelvin, May 1947 2 degrees Fahrenheit. Edit, my first gold. Thank you kind stranger. 1337 K, haha nice. Whilst possible, it is strongly discouraged to attempt to reach that temperature. It may not melt gold, but if could weaken some connections and otherwise damage the fragile electronics. And if used on the lap, it will fry your CEX manager's semen. And if used on the lap, it will fry your CEX manager's semen. I don't see the problem. Someone who is dating my roommate considers herself to be environmentally conscious. She claimed that napkins were bad for the environment and they increase one's carbon footprint. She ranted about it to me in my own home, even though I don't even buy napkins. Maybe a week or so later, she noticed I use a reusable coffee filter and berated me for not using disposable paper filters. I told her that using a reusable filter cuts down on the amount of waste that we produce when brewing coffee, so not only do I not contribute to filling up landfills with paper filters, but I also save money from not buying them in the first place and just cleaning the plastic one. She told me that since paper filters are biodegradable, there is no reason for me to refrain from using them. But napkins are made of paper. Napkins are made of paper. She literally just wanted to stand on a soapbox and hear herself talk. She derives pleasure from telling others that they are wrong, regardless of whether or not they are actually wrong. There is no winning an argument with her. This is even worse than you think. If anything, the napkins would be better for the environment, as some napkins are made with recycled paper, however coffee are typically not. When she said I don't have to be rational when discussing how and why laws are made. I don't know. Acting irrationally might be a good exercise in the creation of laws to better understand irrational thoughts related to said laws. A guy said to me, anecdotal evidence is all I need because it describes my truth, and my truth is reality. Bruh. Then splash a glass of water in his face and say welcome to my reality. I got his name and said, oh, your name is Thomas. I only knew one Thomas, and he was a rapist. 1/1 people that I know named Thomas are rapists, and that means you are too, because that's my reality. After asking them to go home because they were quite clearly sick with a cold, being told don't be stupid, there's no such thing as colds, it's just allergies to the cold weather. Well, and third-degree burns are just being allergic to being on fire. Standards are just semen allergies. Edit, thank you for silver. We had a new assistant at work who was not fitting in with the team. I sat her down and talked to her about expectations and reviewed the responsibilities of the position several times. In one last effort to help her, I thought I'd see which parts of the job she liked. I asked her, what skill do you think is your strongest skill? And she said, delegating. I don't mean to frighten you, but you'll have to do some actual work. I have worked as a trainer for a management position where we had to force people to step back, stop trying to do everything, and just delegate. If someone came in for an interview and said delegation was their strength, they already had a foot in the door. It was hilarious seeing people adjust. If you like to stay active, it made you feel lazy and worthless. Yes. I just moved to top management in December and I feel like all I do is talk to people, listen and not be productive. He had an aversion to Stephen King. Thought Stephen King only wrote gory trash with no redeeming value. That everyone who reads Stephen King had mental issues. And his favorite movie was The Shawshank Redemption. Even after I showed the credits both on IMDb and Wikipedia, he refused to believe that degenerate Stephen King was in any way, shape or form involved with his dearly beloved film. This has happened to Stephen King. There's a few audience with videos on YouTube, talking at various campuses and events, etc. He tells this story of going into a Florida supermarket and an old lady telling him she didn't like horror stories but like uplifting stories like that Shawshank Redemption. King says, I wrote that. She replies, no you didn't. And walks off. That's hilarious. And makes me feel better about my inability to convince the guy I was arguing with. A co-worker went on a rant about how all teachers are lazy and only work from 8 to 3 while taking loads of holiday time while doing minimal work. I come from a family of teachers, so I could see the time put in at home, the lost weekends, the days of doing work till 7 p.m., the last 2 weeks of every summer holiday spent in school prepping the classroom for the next year, buying materials out of their own pocket because the school budget wouldn't cover it. My co-worker's response: well, I'm a parent so I know more about it than you do. I nearly flipped my fucking lid. The thing with opinions about teachers is that since everyone went to school, everyone feel like a specialist of what teaching is about. The truth is that, as a student, you have no idea what the teacher is doing. My sister is becoming a teacher and was an intern at my former school. I was surprised to learn that many teachers there still knew who I was, even though I haven't been there in 12 years and I wasn't a student who stood out for some reason. Then I thought about the heaps of administration these teachers have to make about each student they teach, and considering they were teaching me multiple years, that probably added up a lot. My best friend's sister is a teacher. We are neighbors and we grew up together. Great family as a whole. She is second-year teacher so she's still relatively new in the field but still has experienced a lot. Man. The amount of misconceptions people have about teachers. Your coworker is not only extremely rude and disrespectful but quite dumb too. It's okay to be ignorant about certain topics, everybody is. The huge difference is that when you explain to a normal person, they will listen to you and understand, while the idiot will just dismiss it with "Don't lecture me, I have my opinion and I know better than you." I'd avoid that coworker like the plague.